Hold the phone, did this leak just confirm Nintendo Switch Pro and Springman coming to Smash Ultimate? Let's talk about it! Block content! What's happening, my blocked buddies, and welcome to a brand new episode of Blocked Content's Leak Speak. My name is Callum, and this is going to be your content for today. Now, a lot of you guys have been sending me this information, and it's been a long time since we've gotten to talk about something like Nintendo Switch Pro, something like a brand new version of the console that, iterates a little bit on the first model, and then, of course, talks about what is new, new functionality to the thing, but also the upgrade in visual fidelity, and, of course, the graphics card and everything. So, something like this might actually be coming already, but the last time that we talked about this, it ended up being the Switch Lite, something that wasn't really a big improvement on the console, but just something very small, something handheld, something new, But today, we're getting to talk about something that is a lot bigger than that, something that actually talks about a brand new console. So yes, it would be an iteration on Nintendo Switch, it would actually be something brand new, but yes, this console would essentially be a souped up version of the thing that a lot of you people already own. So let's talk about all the intricacies of this leak. I mean, there's a lot to break down because it also talks about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate information and other games and how they're being up-res. It's very smartly written, so if this is not real, then, it gets my props for at least trying and doing, a very decent job at something very original. But other than that, I mean, there's a lot of information in here that is actually very, very in-depth and requires at least some knowledge of the inner workings of consoles and stuff like that. So let's talk about all of it today, and I've been, of course, answering many of you guys' questions about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and new fighters in our show Question Blocked, where I answer your questions. What do I think of your favorite game? How do you start making YouTube videos yourself? And whatever you can think of, send your question through to blockedcontentmail@gmail.com. I'll answer your question live on the show in our next Question Blocked episode. And here's a brand new giveaway. You can win one of these Super Mario surprise capsules from Tomy. Any Mario item, Yoshi, a different character could be inside. I'll leave them closed so you can find out who's inside there when you win. Giving away 4, so remember to like this video, subscribe to Blocked Content right now, and comment down below to enter for that giveaway. Alright guys, let's head into the main topic of today, and I'll just read through it one time to kind of see what all the information is hidden inside there. So thank you guys so much for sending it to me. I liked reading through it the first time because there's a lot of stuff here that is huge. New Nintendo Switch leak coming in 2020. Yes, it will be revealed on June 24th with the reveal of games that will take advantage of the new features of the hardware. So kind of like the Nintendo 3DS update, the 3DS XL, the new 3DS. The device will use a Volta-based CPU that is similar enough to the Tegra X1 chip that it doesn't break any games and will still be compatible with existing Nintendo Switch software. The clock speeds are around the same of a normal clocked Tegra X1. The device comes with 8 GB of DDR4 memory and 128 GB of storage. The device can stream to other Switches to use them as a second screen through a new part of the online service called Nintendo Play. And this is extremely interesting because, of course, streaming stuff to different devices now is all the rage. Of course, some companies have tried this and completely failed and, of course, fallen by the wayside already, even though they've just introduced stuff like this. But yes, streaming games has become a lot bigger, especially with multiple devices. But of course, Nintendo not necessarily streaming to iPads or televisions, but now streaming to other Nintendo Switch consoles that might be nearby or connected to the internet. So Nintendo Play would essentially be their version of that kind of a system that Xbox has already, introduced through like multi-platform, different kinds of devices that are also Windows devices. So that's already really interesting to read about because no leak has ever talked about something like, yeah, you can stream to different devices if you have, multiple Switches connected to the internet. Now, the revolutionary part of this new Switch, however, is the compatibility for DLSS AI, which will completely change the game for third parties. I've seen some of these, and I can tell you the main improvements. So now, going a little bit more in depth in different games, and going a little bit more in depth in about all this crazy 4K 60 frames per second stuff. So if this is a little bit too much, I'll of course explain it to in like layman's terms. The revolutionary part of this this new Switch, however, well, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate will be receiving a DLSS patch on the day when Springman gets released, which will have the game run at DLSS 4K 60 frames per second in docked mode. This was because of a personal choice of Sakurai. Most first-party games won't have DLSS aside from Yoshi's Crafted World and Breath of the Wild, which is set to run at DLSS 1080p when docked. Well, Mortal Kombat 11 now runs at DLSS 720p 60 frames per second while in undocked mode, and DLSS 1080p and 60 frames per second in TV mode. Shadow and texture detail have been slightly increased and is comparable to the base PlayStation 4 version. The Witcher 3 game now runs at DLSS 720p 30 frames per second undocked and DLSS 1080p and 30 frames per second docked, which would be incredible for a game like The Witcher 3. Doom and the upcoming Doom Eternal now run at DLSS 720p 30 frames per second undocked and DLSS 1080p 30 frames per second docked. So not too crazy there, but at least something stable. The Outer Worlds now runs at DLSS 720p 30 frames per second undocked and DLSS 900p and 30 frames per second undocked. So really incredible there. I think he means docked at the final one here, so a little bit of a mix-up in information right there, but we can forgive that with all this crazy information over here. Dragon Quest XI's now runs at DLSS 720p 60 frames per second undocked and DLSS 1440p 60 frames per second docked. That is really cool 4K stuff. Xenoblade Chronicles DE Definitive Edition and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 are set to receive DLSS patches later, due to difficulties adapting the engine, but they will come eventually. The big flagship game, however, is Cyberpunk 2077, which will run at DLSS 720p 30 frames per second in handheld mode, and then DLSS 1080p 30 frames per second in docked mode. The console will be priced at $399 and will come out sometime in late August. Stay tuned. Now, of course, there is so much to break down here. The crazy stuff about this for Super Smash Bros. Fans is, of course, the very casual mention of, oh yeah, by the way, Springman will be coming to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate when this character gets released. We get an upgrade, with 4K 60 frames per second for Smash. And I mean, I gotta say this. This is very easily typed out if you have some sort of inside knowledge, and it will seem like you have this big brain and all this crazy stuff, and people will take you a lot more seriously about these, potentially fake leaks too. However, I think that it is very likely that we are getting sort of an upres of the Nintendo Switch. I think it would make complete sense in about the middle of its lifetime. Nintendo have already, gone on and stated that. So I feel like if they do this, they could do it this year or next year, and it would still make a lot of marketing sense. Of course, the Switches are still flying off the shelves. You can't really get them, and I think that it would be a lot smarter to, still get rid of a lot of that stock that might be still available somewhere, and then move on to something brand new, because, I mean, the time and the place is just here right now. So having all these crazy games, and of course the announcement of Cyberpunk then coming to Switch, I mean, my brain would just be exploding if that would be, the truth. I would actually be super up for playing that on the go. That would be really awesome. And the fact that Springman would be the DLC character isn't crazy surprising, but having shown all of the ARMS characters in that little trailer that they teased in the Nintendo Direct, I just don't think that it will be just one character. I mean, it just seems too easy. And if it's the case, if we do get Springman, then I'm calling it. All the characters of that Fighters Pass will be assist trophy fighters turned into real fighters, because you can't just do Springman and then not do characters like Shadow or other fighters in that ilk, right? It doesn't make sense at all. So yeah, I'm really curious what you guys all think of this. If you comment down below, that could actually be featured and read out loud in our next video. And of course, today's comment question is, do you think that we are going to be getting a Nintendo Switch Pro? So let me know. And of course, as for a previous comment question winner, our answer comes to us from our beautiful user, ArtSonicFan990, saying, here's my idea for the Crash trailer. The trailer starts with Crash on Wumpa Island, sleeping, as usual. While snoring, Crash accidentally sucked up the Smash invitation that was flying in the air. He suddenly wakes up and coughs out the invitation. He looks at the invitation all puzzled until he sees Mario waving at him. Next to Mario are the other video game mascots: Sonic, Mega Man, Pac-Man, Snake, Banjo-Kazooie, and Terry Bogard of all characters. Excited by this, Crash does his trademark spin attack at the screen, and the title says, "Crash spins into Smash." After the gameplay part of the trailer ends with Crash doing a dance taunt in front of Isabelle, and Isabelle doing her clapping taunt and Crash. So Art Sonic fan, thank you so much. I know that you have a lot of comments throughout all the videos that I really like. I can't feature you every day. A lot of people have some really good stuff too, but thank you so much for, being a constant in the blocked content community. Thank you so much. And the idea of Crash actually having this very comedic, very fun little trailer, I think totally fits with the style of that game and totally fits with Crash Bandicoot as a character. So thank you so much for sending it in. That is super amazing. And of course, thank you guys so much for sending in all your comments. These are a ton of fun to do. And of course, a big shout out to our latest Patreon supporters. I mean, the support over at Patreon has been overwhelming and super fun in the past couple of months. I mean, the world is a crazy place right now, and getting to make daily YouTube videos for you guys is a little bit taxing with everything going on. So if you want to support me, go to patreon.com/blockedcontent. And remember, if you're not yet a member of the Blocked Content family yet, hit subscribe now, smash that like button, and ring the bell for notifications, and all the news and fun you care about will be delivered on the daily to you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you around the corner where there's always more Blocked Content. See ya!